Could you just take us through this tale about the this electric Volvo, please? Because I mean, I think this is what happens, isn't it? People see this as a potential problem in the future. They think, oh well, this is the way things are going towards electric cars, this sort of thing. So I know you've got some direct experience of all this.
Well, yeah, exactly. So they're not just buying, I mean, the diesel and petrol cars are getting cleaner, but people are buying hybrids and pure electric cars, And so in August, I was in London, and I at my mum's place, stayed at my mum's place for a night, and I saw this. I helped her out with her car. She had a problem with her car. She's still got her old diesel car that she bought this new car to get rid of, to replace, right? This old Chrysler PT Cruiser. And that thing the battery's dead on it, right? And she needed me to move it. So, I took the handbrake off and I pushed it back. And then she has this new car. Well, it's not quite new. It's about a couple of years old. It's a Volvo XC-40 kind of SUV thing, and it's a hybrid. It's self-charging and it's plug-in. It's just there's nowhere to plug it in outside her house, And she parks on the street. She can't run a cable out there, and it wouldn't start. It wasn't working. So I jump started it for her from the diesel VW Passat, right? The estate that we've got. And it was a bit of a mission as well to do this, and I had to get the key fob, the electric key fob, and open it up and get the metal key out, and I had to pull out the handle of the door on the passenger side on this hybrid car to expose the key hole and put that in, and I got the passenger door open, right? Everything's dead inside. All the electric, high-tech dashboard of it is dead. Had to clamber over the huge central console between the two front seats, And I'm a little bit overweight, and I'm middle-aged. And it was a mission. So I finally get in there, and got the bonnet open, and then there's also the connection points for the jump leads are in weird places because the battery isn't on top of everything where you can just get at it. You've got to open a little hatch here, and then that's for the positive, and the negative one is just this thing that looks like the end of a bolt, sticking up right out the middle at the back of the, in front of the windscreen, under the bonnet. I thought, oh God, that's it, So I sorted that out, and I get it running, and so she wanted me. It was on the other side of the street, and my mum's 85, right? And she broke her hip years ago and had a hip replacement, and she's not very mobile. She walks with a stick. She has to park the car with the driver's side by the pavement so she can get in, because it's difficult for her to get off the curb. And the thing was on the other side of the road, so I turned it round. I just turned it round and parked it on her side of the road, or the street, a little street. And it was so weird to drive, the steering wheel was really, really light, more than just power steering. It was really light for this big car, kind of a big car. And the accelerator and and it's an automatic, but the gear stick, the automatic gear stick is just sort of like a kind of clicky switch. And you press the pedals, and there's no kind of feel in the pedals at all, and it doesn't do anything, and then it kind of starts moving suddenly, and then you take the, unexpectedly kind of jolts forward, jumps forward a little bit. But I got it parked. I thought, it's such a weird car to drive. And then she told me the story about what had happened. You see, this was the second one of these things that she's owned in the last year or two. Because she got one back in, I think it was 2022, and she kept this. She hadn't told me this story yet. She told my brother that he hadn't told me. She kept it from me because I didn't know, I'd make a stink about it or something. But she had this car, and she an old friend of the family, old friend of hers who I remember from when I was a kid, she passed away. So my mum drove from Chiswick down to Mortlake Crematorium, which is just over the bridge, Chiswick Bridge. It's a couple of miles from where she lives, for the funeral. And when it was over, as she was driving out, she was just driving. She hasn't actually come out onto the road yet. She's just driving around, down the driveway, about 5 miles an hour. And suddenly the steering stops responding. She can't, she can move the steering wheel, but it's not doing anything. And so she hit the brakes, but it didn't stop either. In fact, she said it kind of and if anything, it sped up. It went faster. And it drove her up onto a grass verge and into this fence, I think like a metal fence, And she cracked 2 ribs and broke her finger, you see. And, when she got out of the hospital or whatever, she phoned up the Volvo dealership and they said, yeah, there's a recall. There's a recall on this model, it does things like that. There's been a problem with that kind of thing, And she's like, okay, great, But she got another of the same model of car from them as a replacement. But this new one, right? This new one doesn't work. It didn't work either. They had to change the battery on it. And these things, these electric cars and these hybrid cars, the battery, people complain that the battery is a major part of it, and it's like one of these lithium-ion batteries, like in your phone, but much bigger. And the cost of a new battery is like the cost of buying a new car, the same car, But they changed the battery on this thing, and it still doesn't work. It's a self-charging and plug-in hybrid, but it doesn't charge. It doesn't hold the charge, so it can't drive. So then, okay. So
can I just ask you? Surely the idea is you start it up. If it's not holding its charge, you'll start it up as a petrol car, and then you can use it that way. That's the whole point of a hybrid.
Well, you can, but basically the battery is also starting. The battery that it runs the road wheels on. That it powers it when it's in the electric mode. Is also the battery for good old fashioned starting the petrol engine that's in it, you see. So you have to jump start. If the battery goes flat, you've got to jump start it the same way as
doesn't come with a starting handle then?
No, it should do. That would be useful. I think the old Citroen 2CV had one of those. I don't think anyone had the handle, but it had. I think there's a little crank there under the radiator grill, But yeah, thing, and so it turns out, right, this is why it's so weird to drive, because the steering wheel is not physically connected to the 2 front wheels. There's 2 servo motors in there that turn the wheels for you. But the software it's totally drive-by-wire. It's like a fly-by-wire aircraft. It's drive-by-wire, And the pedals, the same thing. They're not connected. And the handbrake is an electric thing, like on a lot of cars nowadays. And you think, okay, well, what could go wrong? Surely the computer that controls that is reliable and the software is reliable. Well, apparently not. No. It did actually go haywire and tried to kill my mum, like in that film Maximum Overdrive or something. So that was it. So she'd done the right thing. The point was she'd done the right thing, basically. She stopped driving. She hasn't got rid of it yet, but she stopped driving her old dirty diesel and she bought a hybrid. It was costing her £12.50 every time she drove to the supermarket to get food for herself and the cats. By the way, that was the thing. And she's doing okay. You know, she can probably afford that, but you know, it's like you know, you can understand that a less well-off person, you know, they've got a choice between that kind of charge, you know, paying that huge charge, or let's say they've got reduced mobility but they don't have a disabled badge or something, and they've got a choice between that or buying one of these hybrid cars that's super expensive, or buying a new car anyway that complies with the ULEZ requirements. So
okay, so she's on her second XC40 now. Is this how long ago did she buy the first one?
I think it was a couple of years ago, a year and a half or something, you know.
Okay, so what's the state of play with the current car that she spent? I mean, these things are
it doesn't
around
work.
about 35,000, something like that. I'm sure that roughly. And so where is the car? Is it parked on the street? Is it usable? What are Volvo up to?
Well, I parked it there. I let the engine run for about 10 or 15 minutes because there wasn't a lot of petrol left in it. And I turned it off, and then it wouldn't. And then the battery hadn't charged very much, or it wasn't holding the charge, because then it wouldn't work again. You know, it wouldn't even open the doors.
Well, look, let me tell you, with a Morris 1000 from the 1950s, if you run it for just 2 or 3 minutes, it's charged the battery enough to start itself again, even if it's totally dead flat.
Well, yeah, what's going on? So they came they came to get it, right? You know, she phoned them and they came to get it, apparently. This is what she told me, or my brother told me. And they came from the dealership to get it and fix it and take it away and fix it. But they said they couldn't take it away because it wouldn't start. And I was like, you know, when she told me, I was like, yes, that's the problem. It won't start because the battery's dead. Like, didn't they bring the tow truck to tow it away or something? You know, didn't they bring the lorry with the crane on it? And it was like it's totally crazy. You know, they're like incompetent. And just to sort of add insult to injury, you know, just to add insult to injury, the car tax on it is exorbitant. I kind of, because she showed me the documents for it. Hello?
Yeah.
She showed me the documents for it, and it was like £300 and something for the tax. I was like, why is the tax so high? Because the tax is supposed to be based on your emissions nowadays, isn't it? This is one of the things that's supposed to incentivize you, you know, force you to buy like a new car, a low emission car, right? But it's you know, the tax is really high, and I just can't understand that unless it's about the weight of the thing, you know. So yeah, it doesn't work. It's sitting outside there, you know, with birds pooing on it. And I don't know. I suppose she just has to get her shopping delivered by, you know, Ocado or something.
Well, I think, you know, it's time that we did a little appeal to Endeavour Cars. I mean, I'm assuming that's where she's got it from. Or at least, you know, they're the Chiswick roundabout, as many people will know. If you come off the Air4 elevated section and you come onto the North Circular, you'll turn, if you're coming from Bristol, or you'll be turning left. If you're coming out of London, you turn right. Up the North Circular there, the A406. Immediately on your right hand side is Chiswick Volvo, and I think this is a message going out to them right now, to go and have a chat with this lady, apologise to her, fix her car, and compensate her for the lack of having a car for the last 6 months. James, what do you think?
It's ridiculous. It's a joke, you know. They should definitely do that. I mean, really, I mean, they had a cheat to sort of replace that car with, you know, to replace the one that almost killed her with the same model, and then and then when the battery, they had to replace the battery and it still doesn't work. I mean, what is this? I mean, the Volvos are supposed to be the safest cars in the world, aren't they? But
the obvious reason why is because you can't go anywhere in them and you can't injure yourself.
Exactly. It's a new safety feature,
It may bear something to do with just the basic embarrassment about them having to give her a third car. And it may even be that she was fobbed off with a faulty car as a replacement for her first one.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, why is the battery gone on it? That's the question. I mean, it's not like an old car at all. It's only a couple of years old or something. You have to also wonder why there are so many of these, in the second-hand dealership when they're only a couple of years old, and they're supposed to be cars that you can drive for, years and years without a problem, aren't they? They're supposed to be reliable. But yeah, maybe people are selling them back to the dealerships and trading them in for some other model, because they're a lemon basically. The whole model is a lemon. I heard an advert for it on the radio the other day. That made me laugh. For that model, and it was like, it's like one of these kind of cutesy adverts where there's this Swedish girl talking about how great about I don't know, making some humorous comparison between the car and some other thing. And it's like, yeah, right, whatever. My wife was in the car, and I said, that's the car that almost killed my mum.
Yeah. So the replacement batteries for these things, a cheap second-hand one is, and whether that works or not is another question. It might take you months to find out if it does. That's round about £3,000. But a new replacement one for Volvo, you're going to be looking at coming up for £10,000 for a new battery. And it seems to me what's been going on is that the batteries that aren't working are simply being given to people as replacement cars for other ones that aren't. Anyway, sounds to me like this is a sort of That's Life Esther Ranson style fraud story. So is there anything you specifically would like Volvo to do, James, for your mum?
Well, she didn't want to speak today. She didn't want to talk about it, but and she kind of made a choice. But I'd like them to give her a car that works, because she can't get around really without it, and she needs it just to do basic things like shopping. She did what the government wanted, and what everyone said was right for the environment and so forth. And it got her in hospital the first time, initially with the first car, and now it's got her, stuck at home and sort of limited options for going out apart from getting a taxi or something like that. So yeah, get her a car that works, really.
Let's put that out there to Volvo, and we'll see how we get on. And bless your mum, because it's not on for elderly people to be treated like this by Volvo. James, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Tony. Thanks for having me on.